Justice William Mutunga will this afternoon preside over the swearing-in of the newly appointed commissioners for the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. The event will take place at the Supreme Court. The new commissioners to be sworn in are Chairman Philip Kinusu, Rose Mgoim Tambo Masharia, Dabar Maalim Abdi, Paul Moneki Gashoka and Sophia Lepucherit. The commission's first task will involve the vetting of the commission's staff. Parliament last August passed a law requiring that all the commission staff be vetted afresh following a presidential memorandum to the House. We're now joined by my colleague Sharon Momanyi, who's at the Supreme Court. Sharon, good afternoon. How's the ceremony begun?
Yes, good afternoon, Sophia. No, the swearing in has not begun yet. In fact, what is taking place right now behind me here at the Supreme Court chambers is the swearing in of advocates to the bar, more than 500 of them. And the Chief Justice William Mutunga is overseeing that admission to the bar of this new advocates. But later on, immediately after this swearing in after this admission is what we expect now, the swearing in of the new commissioners to take place. We do understand that we know that they were appointed by the President Uhuru Kenyatta in November last year following the resignation of the EACC commissioners early in the year following corruption allegations within the commission itself, a process that saw the filling in of that vacuum by the appointment of these new commissioners who were later on in December vetted by the National Assembly, a process that now has brought us to this day when the five are supposed to be swearing in, headed by Philip Kinusu, who is supposed to take over as the new chairperson of the commission, Sophia.
Right, and they of course were successful in their vetting, and I understand the first duty when they are sworn in today will be also to conduct a vetting exercise, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the first duty that they are mandated with, and this actually follows that new law that was, passed by the Parliament in August, which, mandated the new commission that comes in to first undertake a vetting process for all the staff of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. So that is the immediate task that faces this new commission once they take over. And we know since the resignation of the commissioners that include former chairperson Muma Matemu and his deputy Irene Kano, as well as Jen Onsogo last year in May, the commission has just been headed by the secretariat, led by the secretary Halake Wako. Now it has been a limping commission, so to speak, Sophia, faced by this big dragon of corruption in the country, and so the whole country has been looking to see the new face of the commission. And really the big task they must have, Sophia, other than the vetting of the staff, I would say the biggest task they have is to rebuild the confidence of the public in the commission, because the faith really and the trust that people have in this commission, as far as the biggest, in fact their main mandate of fighting corruption is really dwindling, if not dwindled completely. And so they have that task of rebuilding that trust, because we know that the journey that has seen that vacuum in the commission is one that comprised of allegations of corruption within the commission itself, Sophia.
All right, and finally, before I let you go, you rightfully put it there, it's a huge task that awaits them. But do we know the manner in which this commission will be functioning? Is it as that of Muma Matemu, or will we be having a different structure? Because we had seen proposals of a commission that is part-time. Are these proposals, do we know if they've been implemented, or is it business as usual? All right, we appear to have lost Sharon there, but she's live for us at the Supreme Court. We'll definitely be getting back to her, updating us on the swearing in of the commissioners to the EACC. Remember, they were appointed by President Uhuru Kenyatta, so they will be sworn in, the chairman being Philip Kinusu, and of course thereafter they will also go ahead to vet the officials working in the EACC, details of course of which we'll be bringing to you as we get them. Now, affected families of soldiers involved in the Al-Shabaab attack in El Ade camp are asking for more information about the status of their kin. In Eldoret, our reporter Mercy Kandia spoke to some of these families, and she now joins us via phone for more information. Mercy, good afternoon. I know you're with one of the families that has been having their son serving in KDF. Do they know his fate?
Yes, indeed, Wanuna. We are at the home of one KDF soldier. He's called Wesley Siri Kwakimeli. He's 22 years old, and where we are currently is at Lelmoko in Nandi County, and the villagers here, Sophia, it's a state of sorrow and also frustration. What they're saying is a delay from the government in relaying information about the state of their sons who are based in Somalia. So as we speak to you right now, about 10 families from within this particular location are waiting for, to know the state of their families. Some of them that we've talked to, they've sent representatives, either wives or brothers, to the military base that has been set up for information in Eldoret to give information with regard to the state of their sons who are in Somalia. However, Sophia, where we are currently, we've talked to the fathers and the brothers and the sisters of now Wesley Kimeli, and they're telling us all they want is information from the government, and they want to know the state of their son. So they're saying if he is indeed dead or alive, what they want is that information. What they're telling us is that they are frustrated because they're not getting anything much as of now from the government. What they want is that they're saying, one of the brothers we've talked to, by the way, so they're telling us that they've been in communication with the 22-year-old since he travels to Somali. He tells us he left here at around 26th of December. He left here earlier in November, went to Mandera, left Mandera 26th of December, and they used to talk to his brother every day up until now, about on Friday, where that's the last time they communicated. Sophia?
All right, so what I'm hearing from you, Mercy, is that for these 10 families, it's a certainty they don't know what has befallen their loved ones. Have they tried to get in touch? And any efforts have they made to also reach out to the government and rather KDF itself?
One of the brothers that we've talked to tells us that he's been talking to his brother every single day. So, yes, they don't want to expect the worst, but they are saying that instead of suspecting for the worst, all they want is to be told that if he's dead or alive. And if he's dead, then they want the body to be brought here for the burial. A lot of frustration here, Wanuna. They're saying that it's very hard trying to get information in terms of knowing the fate of what happened. Just to even give it another note, it's a sad day for the family. They just had a recent burial here in 5th of December, and they're saying that the mother actually of Wesley Kimeli describes his son as one who is very focused. He said that he just started a young family, he has one son, and was planning to have development in this particular area. Wanuna?
All right, and before I let you go, it's interesting you said they're struggling to get this information because the security officials have been saying they are communicating directly to their families. But in terms of these men that have been serving, because for the 10 families, you tell me there are servicemen in KDF, how had they been describing their experience in the military?
When I've not heard your question, the line is not very clear. If you could come up again.
To their loved ones about it ahead of this, before this attack. How would they talk about that experience for them being in KDF?
If I hear you clearly about the experience, one of the brothers who we've talked to is that the 22-year-old was in Somalia, that it was normal, that he was not even moving around. He was based at the camp in Elade in Somalia. Their work was just initially to stay there. So not much experience. Wanuna, he'd just joined KDF there about 15 days there. So he's looking forward to probably, develop his young family. Wanuna?
Thank you very much. Our Masikandia talking to us from Eldoret. She's there with a number of families that have been having their loved ones serving in the Kenya Defence Forces, and they wait anxiously for more information on their son's fate. We'll keep you posted on that story. Now, earlier, my colleague Michael Gitonga spoke to security expert Mwenda Mbijiwe about the prospects of the KDF continuing to stay on in Somalia. Here's part of that interview.
Intelligence on how many they could be, where they could be. For me, one of the questions I ask is, when I was in the Air Force, I remember we used our pilots used to do night navigation. And night navigation was not just about flying in the air at night. It's about combat, at night. And, strong questions will linger. And I'm sure once we are done with this morning tough questions will be asked. We will ask very tough questions. We will ask, where were the Air Force fighter jets? Where were the air cavalry, combat helicopters? What happened at this hour in the night? Or maybe when Al-Shabaab, got into the camp, then it became tactically impossible for Air Force to go in and bomb because they could be, bombing their own brothers.
Yeah.
So all these questions, these camps, did we even put trip wires and maybe night flares, that would be connected with trip cables around the camp so that in case somebody crawled in, we would see, was this an audaciously or rather courageously carried out attack by Al-Shabaab where they didn't care, like the chief of defense said, that they came, to the gate, there were suicide bombers. So all these all these questions are going to come to play. And I want to ask my brothers at KDF to be ready because these questions will come up very soon.
Now, as an expert, from an expert point of view, what are some of the impediments that they may be having so that the information is delayed? What are some of the challenges? You've talked about terrain being one of them that could also hinder information coming out quickly. What other things could there be that would stop information flowing quickly?
If, and I hope this is not true, if Al-Shabaab overran the camps entirely and took control of the communication equipment, then you're done.
There's no communication.
There is no, that area, it's an area known not to have cell phones. And so if Al-Shabaab, and really you wonder, how swift could the attack have been to the extent that there was no SOS sent, Save Our Souls sent, distress calls sent to, KDF, to Department of Defense headquarters, and if they overran the camp and took charge of the communication, then that makes them completely helpless. And so if there's entirely no communication in the area, that's a big problem. And now, maybe the third and most critical impediment is the attitude of the community around there. Some photos we've seen online, which I don't believe are true, but if they were, you find the entire community gathering there to look at the bodies, and actually in one particular picture you see somebody in the community trying to bow to take a shot of a fallen soldier. And you ask yourself, were these community members part of this team, or could they even have participated?
How did they access the place so quickly after the incident?
All right, let's now cross over to a story we're following for you on the Kenya Youth Report. And majority of the youth in Kenya value their faith above everything else, according to results of a research on Kenya youth. Other factors include family and work as well.
48% of the young people we interviewed actually think that it is their ordained mission to actually create jobs. I think they've been listening to you a lot. When you say you don't just go to school to get a certificate and start looking for a job, stop pounding the pavement. Go and create a job. So they're listening. Only 26% would like to do the things such as most of us here, get employed by someone and have a salary and a pension and hopefully a comfortable retirement. They don't want to go into things like engineering, law, and teaching. They want to start their own business. But as I was talking to Professor Gitruo in the morning, only 11% want to go into farming. But we know the potential that is out there. Today, we still say that 75% of the population is employed in agriculture.
Are we teaching what is appropriate and preparing students for what is needed at work? For what are the challenges that Kenyans are facing? And I can tell you today, some of the challenges we're facing in this country is the issue of corruption, is the issue of good harvest, quality, product, and services. We are still juakari, we are still traders, very big traders. And thirdly, and this is to me is perhaps the most important, and I think that's what the report is telling us. Are students equipped with cognitive, interpersonal, are we equipped with intrapersonal skills?